Welcome to the Archives of Legend and Lore. I am the Chaotic GM, and every week I will bring a monster, humanoid, aberration, or some other being to the gaming table and put it in the spotlight, so to say. We'll discuss some of the lore, the differences in additions, and possible ways to use them in your one-shot or campaign. For the month of October, we shall look into the various monsters associated with movies and horror tales. I have released a module for Halloween titled Pagoria's Plight. It will be pay what you want or free at the DM's Guild. You can also purchase it at my Etsy store. The Etsy store, you will actually get the second edition module along with it. For the fourth installment of our October Chaos Fun, I hope to give you a fright. Don't go boo, just keep your eyes open and you might just catch a glimpse of a ghost or two. We'll start the haunting with story time. This week, I submit for your approval, the Silver Wyvern. I hope you enjoy. The wind howled, and the rain pelted everything. By nightfall, the temperatures would drop, and anything that was wet would turn to ice. If he wasn't superstitious, Karn would ask what else could go wrong. The ship was one of the strongest and finest he'd ever worked on. They called it a Silver Wyvern, and she usually could almost fly over the water. The trip was odd from the start. They had been on leave, and no one was allowed to stay on board at port. They were told to enjoy themselves and stay inland for 3 days' time. An inn, far away from the port, had been fully paid for. Even the drinks, so no one complained. No one out loud. Karn decided to stay close. He rented a room above a shop on the waterfront and watched. On the second day, late into the night, a large carriage pulled up to the docks and made its way to the ship. Several men in black robes unloaded a crate and carefully put it on board the ship. The captain watched on through the process. 3 carriages came that night and all had the exact same crates on them. At sunrise, all the mysterious men were gone, and the captain had the cargo hold closed and had retired to his quarters. They had been informed to come back at sunset on the third day, and Karn could see the ship hands start to return to work. He packed his things and headed back too. The captain made the announcement they would be setting off soon. A departure after dark was always questionable, but the crew knew better than to ask questions. They were all paid very well and trusted the captain completely. They were told they would be sailing south for 5 days around the coast and to an in-between mountain town. Much of the same, there would be free lodging, food, and drink there as well. Not many ever traveled south from this port. The waters were rough, and the rocks seemed to lunge out from nowhere to impale ships. Storms seemed to pop up, and most people would just sail around to the north to reach the other side. 5 days would put them right in the middle of those troubled waters. They did usually take the jobs others would or could not. Without any lights, they left the harbor under the cover of darkness. The first 2 days were uneventful, but partway through the third day, the black wall of a storm raced towards them. The waves started increasing, and the wind would gust from time to time. They all knew the signs and started ready for the gale. They lowered their mainsails to protect them from the winds, which made maneuvering difficult, but it was a necessary task. The winds and rain hit them like a wall. Visibility was almost nil. Men tied themselves to the railing and mast with lengths of rope to stay on board. Several hours of the storm hit. Karn couldn't do much but hang on and pass along orders yelled to the people below deck. They were being pushed in all directions. He knew they were far off course, but as long as they survived, they'd be able to get their bearings. The captain was excellent at that. The captain had lashed himself to the wheel and fought the storm and waves with everything he had. Hopefully the storm would end before exhaustion took him. A wave washed over the ship, knocking Karn to the deck. He was battered back and forth, the rope the only thing saving him. He heard a crack, and a piece of railing slid by him, trailed by a sailor. Both disappeared into the water. Karn slowly got his footing and stood up. Several others were gone. Suddenly the ship lurched forward, the rear of the ship coming up out of the water. They had hit something. Splinters of wood and boards flew by. Karn was airborne. The mast sheared off, rolling over the deck and shredding the railing most of the people were tied to, including Karn. He flew to the front of the ship and struck the wood steps. He could feel muscle tear and bone break. No time to worry about that. He was thrown to the side of the ship as a creaking sound rose above the storm. That was when the ship started tearing too. Water rushed over everything. A barrel hit Karn in the back of the head, and all went silent. It was best for him. He didn't get to feel the pain, hear the dying, or see the captain cut in two from the sail rigging. Quiet. Everything was quiet. Quiet and cold. Karn couldn't feel his extremities. He must be froze to the bone. He braced himself for the pain that would come with moving, but there was none. He tries to sit up and open his eyes. Fog. So hard to see. The fog, it's everywhere. He stands. He's on wood. Splintered wood. Is it the ship? The fog starts receding a little. He is on the ship, or at least part of the ship. Rocks are jutting out from it, and it's in pieces. A few others around him, and they start to move. Still quiet. No waves crashing. The storm must be over. The fog is receding enough he can see the entire ship, or what's left of her. Where the captain should be, that part of the ship is gone. A rock juts out from the front of the ship, the one that stopped them probably. Bodies. So many bodies floating in the water. How'd he even survive, let alone be okay and able to walk? He sees a torso floating in the water. It looks like the captain's shirt on it. Karn looks back the way he came. Next to where he got up, a poor fellow is twisted. Back broke and his head is smashed into the rocks. Someone breaks the silence and calls out from near the rear of the ship. It's the captain. He slowly starts crawling through the wreckage to get to the others. Are the crates safe? Did they get damaged? He yells out. Karn looks over the edge of the shattered ship to the hull and into the cargo hold. They look whole and complete, sir, he says. The crates are just barely out of the water. The torso floats by them and swirls in a current, turning over. The face of the captain stares back at him. We have to keep those safe until we get them to their destination, the captain shouts. Karn pays him no heed, though, and runs back to the poor fellow on the rocks, the one with the broken back. He rolls the body over, and staring back at him, even though it's very beaten and bloated, is his own face. We will protect them for as long as it takes, the captain says, standing next to Karn now. We have a contract, an oath to complete. I feel like almost everyone should be familiar with a ghost and what they are, but we will recap with each expansion, starting with 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons. They are spirits of beings that were so evil in life, or were so emotional. Hey, that's the manual's words, not mine, so don't get all emo on me. They were cursed with the gift of undead status. Wow, that's something I want to open up for my birthday or for Christmas. Happy birthday! You get to haunt the factory you love so much. They roam about at night or in places of darkness. They despise goodness and light, and want to draw the living essence out of all things. In most cases, they are confined to certain spaces or locations. These are their haunts. No, not a tavern. Well, okay, I guess actually it could be a tavern, but that's kind of a different kind of haunt. Usually, there's a specific reason for the haunting, like getting revenge, someone that died horribly, or even just returning to do the tasks they once did in life. Sometimes they come back when their corporeal forms weren't given a proper burial. They can be very deadly and tricky to beat in a fight, but might be set right by just finishing the task or righting the wrong done to them. The fear caused by ghosts in this edition can literally age the victim by 10 years. I mean, they don't mess around. A ghost is the soul of a once living creature bound to haunt a specific location, creature, or object that held significance to its life, according to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Almost identical to 2nd edition, the ghost wants to complete a task, avenge its death, fulfill an oath, relay a message, or just doesn't know it's dead and it's still repeating what it did in life. The best way to get rid of a ghost is to finish the unresolved thing that's keeping it on this plane. Oh, no, not an airplane. Unless, I guess, that's what it was haunting. But, there aren't planes in this setting. Okay, I know. Yeah, I guess if you're doing Spelljammer, then maybe there is. But, okay, where were we? The ghost may cause intense emotional feelings in the places they haunt. Sadness, grief, depression, anger, hatred, things like that. Pretty much whatever they're feeling, they pass on. Like on modern ghost hunting shows, they cause cold spots, noises, movements, and even odd smells. Wait, what's that smell? It's a ghost! No, the cameraman just had eggs for lunch. They can cause fear and possess in this edition, but they don't age their victims. Pathfinder states, when some mortals die through tragic circumstances or without closure, they can linger on in the world. These anguished souls haunt a locale significant to them in life, constantly trying to right their perceived wrong or wrongdoings. Ghosts in Pathfinder are not all evil, but many do turn evil. Any skills they had in life are lost in their death. Except sarcasm. That power should be strong enough to pass on through the veil, at least in my opinion. I mean, they do retain their intelligence, so sarcasm is a power of that, right? If a ghost is destroyed, and the problem anchoring them here is not resolved, They will return in 2 to 8 days. Their movement, or place bound to, is usually only about 120 feet or so. Most of the other attributes are common with the other editions, but they do have a more robust set of skills in Pathfinder, but we won't touch on combat for now. Now, let's light some candles and summon our spirits to the table. It's time for the Creative Chaos Corner. Scenario 1. The adventurers need to find a ship, lost to the sea off the coast of nowhere. It was carrying a special cargo, several crates, and they need to be found. Time is of the essence. The quest giver, Nunya Business, tells them they don't need to know what is in the crates. Just get them, and they will be rewarded greatly, half up front. She gives them a map with the last known location of the ship, right in the middle of a rather shallow bay, but it's filled with deadly rocks that threaten to sink anyone entering. This has quite a few fun parts to it. First, they need to acquire or hire a ship willing to take them to this deadly place. Once they get there, depending on how you want to do it, I know, none of the editions I cover have those, but I find them fun sometimes. You know, like they need to roll and get so many passes before they get so many fails, or you can skip that part and just have them sail into the bay easily, no problems at all. It's up to you, really. Several ruined ships can be seen. They are looking for one with a Silver Wyvern emblem on it. Once found, they can board it. It is mostly, out of the water, but it is evident fairly quickly that the ship is infested with ghosts. The poor souls of the sailors that died on board still man the ship. The adventurers need to fight, bargain, trick, sneak, or find their way through them to get to the cargo hold. Inside, they find 3 crates with Silver Wyvern emblems on them. Return them to Nunya, and the quest is complete. Okay, all set. What was in the crates? Well, if the nosy adventurers peek, they contain a silver dragon egg in each, and they are still moving. They must be going to hatch soon. Nunya is a caretaker for the silver dragon flight that has disappeared or become extinct. Depends on you and your world, though. Have fun with that one. Scenario 2. In the center of town lies a temple to an old god. So old, in fact, its name has been forgotten. Or, I just refuse to give it one. It has been abandoned for as long as the residents can remember. A new upstart of a religion has acquired the rights to it. Yeah, by greasing the palms of the local officials, and now they want to utilize it, but it's haunted. The adventurers are hired to get rid of the foul spirits, or debunk that it is haunted and remove the vagrants causing the disturbances. Lights can be seen at night, and a voice can be heard. The temple itself is in very good condition, and shows little signs of wear. In the center of the main worship area is a large fountain, but it is run dry and is filled only with dust. A plaque on it names it as the Fountain of Eternal Health and Vitality, given to the people by the goddess Diona. There, I gave her a name. But watch, I bet you change it, don't you? You smug little... Okay, back on track. If they visit the fountain at night, a luminous figure can be seen walking around and coming to kneel at the fountain. The figure is that of a younger man, maybe early 20s, dressed in priestly robes. He seems flustered and worried. He can be talked to, but he needs to hurry. The water isn't running. He needs to figure out why. Without the healing waters, the temple will fall and the people will turn their backs and forget the goddess. He will head into a side chamber with stairs leading deep into the earth. At the bottom is a huge cavern. Bone-dry rock lines the floor. A system of pipes and mechanisms line one of the walls. The ghost heads over to a crack in the wall and seems even more disturbed. The water. Where's the water? And he disappears. Peering down the fissure, the adventurers can see a boot. If they crawl even further, they'll find the remains of the ghost that haunts the place. All they need to do is give the poor priest a proper burial, and the matter should be resolved. Now, if they travel further down the path he was crawling, they find another large room. In the center of the room lies an object, a gold and platinum embossed skull. The skull is real. It is a woman's skull. This is, well, they don't know. But I can tell you, right, fellow Dungeon Master? This is the magic skull of Diona. Any fluid that runs over it gains healing and purifying properties. On the far wall of the room, several boulders lay, and they look damp. If they are moved, the water starts flowing again, filling up the room's floor and starting to run down the path that brought them here. Given time, the other room will fill up with water too, and the magic pumps start up on their own, and the fountain comes back to life. If the skull is left there, it will imbue the fountain's waters with the goddess's power and heal and purify. The big question is, will the adventurers leave the skull to the cult about to take over the temple? or will they take it with them? The decision is yours and theirs. Scenario 3. There! In the center of the room lies a skull of nobody common. The adventurers need to grab it and whatever loot they can carry and return it to the strange benefactor that hired them. The problem is, as soon as the skull is removed, an angered ghost emerges from the rest of the skeleton. Do they run? Fight the ghost? Put the skull back. If they escape with the skull, this place will forever be haunted by that ghost. No big deal, right? Wait, did they find the orb of ultimate bad guy destroying? No. Well, they need that. Or not. This is short, I know. But they can choose to finish the quest and not care about the ghost, or anger the guy or gal they took the quest from and put the skull back. The possibilities are endless. Oh, I see the sun coming up, so my time here on this plane is almost over. I might be back to bring you more haunting tales soon, because my ghost will always linger here in the chaos. I hope you enjoyed our Fright Night. If so, why not give it a review on your podcast platform of choice? Maybe you can share this with a friend, or just blare it out at your next convention. I hope to see you next time, and remember, if you truly are chaotic, your players will never know what you'll throw at them next.